vinyl community. Welcome to another video with the Record Spinner. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a bootleg vinyl haul, and it is yet another Kiss-themed bootleg haul. These are all bootlegs that I have accumulated over the past 6 months or so, and I figured that since we are in the middle of the year, it would be a prime time to give you guys a Kiss bootleg update, and there is quite a bit of variety in this haul. We have some soundboard recordings, TV appearances, and even the earliest known Kiss live recording. There's a lot to get through in this haul, so enough of the chit chat. Let's jump into what this video is all about. First up is all new Bizarre Stage Show. This is perhaps one of the more notable Kiss bootleg recordings in circulation. It is a soundboard recording taken from the Richfield Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio on September 3rd, 1976 on the Destroyer Tour. Now, I had this show on vinyl before in the form of a bootleg called The Spirit of Cleveland, which included the show on 3 sides of vinyl, and then there was a side's worth of Destroyer studio outtakes. But this right here is an entirely different animal, because whatever has been circulating for years in the bootleg circles must have been a copy of the tape that had several generations removed, which results in a lot of tape hiss and nuances of that sort. But the source for this bootleg must have been a first-generation copy, and the difference in sound quality between this and what's been out there is almost night and day difference. And as stated on the Obi, this is the uncut soundboard edition, because what had been circulating for years included Rock and Roll All Night cut midway through the song, and this bootleg here is the first time that you hear the song performed in its entirety from this show. So this source has never circulated until now. But aside from those minor details, this recording is simply one of the best ones that you can come across from the Destroyer Tour. And packaging-wise, this follows in the same vein as the Anaheim 76 bootleg that came out recently that I did showcase. Does come with a very nicely designed gatefold cover with a nice cool billboard. Here is the back, and as you can tell, of course, there is a Japanese-style Obi. And what's cool with the Obi is because this is like a whole series and there's different variations out there, the color of the Obi will indicate what the color of the vinyl is, but obviously I'll showcase the vinyl once we dig through. Opens up like this, and we have a phenomenal live shot of Gene, Ace, and Paul, which is awesome. And inside we have various goodies in here. So first up in the first opening, we have this sort of 20-page style tour program, which is full of various posters, photos of the venue, as well as just awesome live shots of the band performing during the tour. Just beautifully put together, beautifully designed. It's stuff like this that easily gives official product a run for its money. But yeah, I will say, Kiss did knock it out of the ballpark with the Destroyer Super Deluxe box set. So, I don't know if maybe just upping the ante for that is combating with what is out in the bootleg circles. But regardless, you know, when it comes to a band like Kiss where you can kind of market it in this style, the modern bootlegs are just going to be absolutely phenomenal. So just absolutely gorgeous stuff here. And there is also a giant fold-out poster, which unfortunately probably won't see all of it in the frame, but you can kind of get a general idea on what it looks like. So I'll showcase. I'll kind of just pan it like this, which is very cool. Suitable for framing, of course. 2 LP set, and of course, like I said, the color of the vinyl is reflective of the Obi strip. And as you can tell, this comes pressed on purple vinyl. Next up is As Seen on TV. Now, this is a compilation of all of Kiss's live television appearances from 1974 to 1995. So in terms of the early years, there is, of course, ABC's In Concert, The Mike Douglas Show, Midnight Special, and Fridays. And there is a lot of emphasis on the early 90s here with appearances on Arsenio Hall, the late night shows with Jay Leno and David Letterman, and various shows overseas. But what makes this collection unique is the variety of tracks that they performed during this period, such as Making Love, Parasite, Coming Home, amongst other great deep cuts. And since they were also pushing the Kiss My Ass tribute album at this point, there are performances of some tracks that Kiss did with the respective artists that covered them on the album, such as Garth Brooks with Hard Luck Woman and Christine 16 with the Gin Blossoms. The cover itself is pretty cool, has the graphic of an exploding television, and the back features a sort of grainy kind of screenshot from their performance on the Midnight Special. And the gatefold here features screenshots of the various television appearances that appear on this collection. This pressing is limited to 300 copies, as you can see on the numbered sticker there, and this is copy number 266. This is put out by Casino Records, one of the best bootleg labels out there. I've said it so many times. And this pressing comes pressed on green vinyl. Next up is Nothing Is Quite What It Seems. Now, this is merely a work-in-progress version of the Psycho Circus album with various alternate versions and rough mixes from the album sessions. Now, the differences between what became released on the album and these alternate versions do differ from track to track, whether it's certain elements of the mix being more pronounced, lack of overdubs, sometimes different effects being used that overall change the vibe of the track, things of that sort. So this is something more so for the diehards to sink their teeth into, but if you love Psycho Circus as an album, then this is perhaps something of interest. The cover does feature some cool pulp-style artwork, and it does come with a printed inner sleeve that has this cool kind of circus-style poster on one side, and the opposite side includes some photos from the Kiss Playboy shoot from 1999, along with a brief write-up about the release. This is limited to 500 copies, and this is number 240. And it comes pressed on purple vinyl. Next up is Alive in Winterland, January 1975. This is taken from the Winterland Ballroom in San Francisco, California on January 31st, 1975 during the Hotter Than Hell tour. This recording doesn't exist in audio form only. It was archived on video by Winterland's in-house video crew. There is a whole backstory behind the fire that had destroyed a vault that housed many shows that were filmed at Winterland, and it's speculated that since Kiss did several shows at Winterland prior to and after the show that there may have been archived, but the only reason why this video exists is because Kiss bought the rights to it. It is definitely one of the most recognizable pieces of early Kiss on video. Any documentary that you see often includes footage from the show, and it is distinguishable since it is shot in black and white. And I guess you could say that this is kind of quasi-official because the show was featured in the Kissology Volume 1 DVD, and the audio itself is just a soundboard mix, so it does sound great, but there is a certain magic to this performance alone that just makes it shine. Dress to Kill hadn't even been recorded at this point, and this is a mere 6 months before they headlined Cobo Hall and recorded Kiss Alive, so hearing them at this infancy stage is such a treat. And it's funny because, of course, I'm familiar with the show itself, and my dad has a CD copy of the show, and we were listening to it, and I just thought to myself, damn, I really need this for my collection, and sure enough, it is in my hands. This was put out by a bootleg label called Vern Records, and they are known for putting out some top-quality bootleg sound quality-wise, and the artwork does feature some pretty cool period photos, kind of like a photo collage on the backside. Pressed on black vinyl, but it does feature some pretty cool custom center labels, which feature some awesome live shots. Next up is Alive in Amityville, June 1973. This is a soundboard recording taken from the Daisy in Amityville, New York on June 16th, 1973. This was recorded by roadie Eddie Solon at the time, and it is the earliest known Kiss live recording. Hearing Kiss during the period where they were just a club band is truly a treat in terms of the context of this formative period of the band, and it also provides an interesting point of contrast because when you hear this recording and then you flash forward about 6 months later, it's almost a different band. And while this recording does feature Kiss classics such as Nothing to Lose, Firehouse, and Deuce, you can tell that the songs ultimately got more consolidated since they often included some extended instrumental and solo passages, almost giving off a jam band type of vibe, which thankfully they shedded. But aside from hearing early Kiss classics, this also features tracks such as Life in the Woods, which never appeared on a Kiss record, Simple Type, which is a Wicked Lester leftover, as well as Acrobat, which got shortened to Love Theme from Kiss on the first album. But to provide a bit of history behind this recording, all that was committed to tape was the band's first set and a few songs of their second set. Now, this show definitely is in Kiss's archive since they did release the recording of Acrobat on the 2001 box set, and the entire show leaked around late 2013. And I remember around 2014, there was a bootleg out called Horny Bitches and Daisy Days of this recording. And I remember seeing it at a local record store when I started collecting vinyl, and to own that would have been a grail type of deal for me. And I never saw it again, and I have been meaning to get this show in my collection, and it was certainly a small moment of victory when this landed in my hands. Now, this isn't the entire recording, it is merely a compilation of the choice cuts, but it'll rightly serve its purpose. This is another Vern Records release. Tons of great period photos comprising the artwork, as well as some cool photo center labels. Next up is Rock the Box. Now, this is another collection of various TV appearances. There's a little bit of overlap between this release and As Seen on TV, particularly ABC's In Concert and Fridays. But what makes this collection unique is the inclusion of live tracks that were taken from live shows that were broadcasted on TV. So there's a few tracks that were shown on the Young Music Show in Japan, which were from the Budokan shows in 1977. There's a few tracks from Sydney, Australia in 1980 that were part of the Inner Sanctum documentary that was put out at the time. So there's enough differences with it that make it worth owning both As Seen on TV and this, but I'm also a completist and I have no qualms with owning duplicates of Kiss stuff, but that's besides the point. But content aside, I absolutely love the artwork for this release. It comprises of photos from their performance on ABC's In Concert, as well as what is featured on the printed inner sleeve inside. Just absolutely phenomenal shots. And this does come pressed on red vinyl. Next up is Blitz Japan 77. This is a collection of various audience recordings taken from the 1977 Japanese tour, predominantly from the shows in Tokyo, as well as one track from Nagoya. In general, the audience recordings that circulate from this tour are great sounding, and the Tokyo shows are right up there. I've said this before, but the interesting thing with Japanese audiences is that they are very quiet and respectful when the band is playing, and then when the songs are done, they just erupt in applause, and you can definitely sense that with these recordings. But sound quality aside, this is Kiss perhaps at their peak, and the performances are just precise and absolutely perfect. There is also another bootleg release of this nature called Japan Crazy 77, which has various audience recordings taken from Kyoto, Osaka, and Nagoya, which I did have at one point and I ended up selling, so now I'm trying to find that again. But on the other hand, this is one that I've been trying to hunt down for some time, and just it finally happened. Features a pretty cool live shot of Paul on the front cover, and then an awesome shot of the band at the airport sporting some very nice kimonos. There is a cool glossy printed inner sleeve with a live shot of Paul and Ace on this side, and then the opposite featuring a cover of Young Rock magazine, which looks so of the time and aesthetically pleasing. And there is also a sticker in here as well, which I believe I placed not inside the printed inner. Ah, here it is. States that it is limited to 500 copies, and this is number 162. And this pressing comes pressed on white vinyl. Last but not least, keeping it in the vein of the Japanese 77 tour, is A Taste of Hell. Now, this consists of the evening show at the Budokan on April 2nd, 1977. Now, just to provide a bit of context with this show, the Japanese TV station NHK was hired to film both the afternoon and evening show for domestic broadcast, and the end result was an hour-long edit of the show that was shown on Japan's Young Music Show in late 1977, and it was subsequently broadcasted by HBO in the US during the summer of 1979. Now, the audio for these shows were also recorded by Eddie Kramer for a planned Japanese-only live album called Rock and Roll Party in Tokyo, which then evolved into a Live 2. I did a whole analysis video on a Live 2, and I discussed the original Japanese album if you want to peel back and check that out. The full show itself was released as part of the Kiss Kissology Volume 1 DVD. So kind of like the Winterland release that I showed early, it's one of those kind of quasi-official type deals, since the audio source for the full show was probably more than likely from the video. But what's great about this release is that we're kind of getting, you know, two birds with one stone, because we have the full uncut show taking up 2 LPs, more than likely sourced from the video on Kissology. But then we also have the hour-long edit from the Young Music show. So we get 2 interesting variations of that show. This release is designed perfectly with the nods to the Rock and Roll Over album cover, since this was from the tour in support of that album. And the back cover features a cool photo of the band in front of the Spirit Temple in Kyoto. And this is a triple gatefold jacket with some awesome individual live shots of the band members, which is solid. This is limited to 300 copies, and I actually have a relatively low number as well. This is pretty cool. This is copy number 34, and it does come pressed on sort of marbled red vinyl. So there you guys go. That is yet another Kiss-themed bootleg vinyl haul. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning.